Aleph Mishnah Zayin. This Mishnah discusses a theme which we've discussed a few times so far in this parak, and that is that the nights of Yom Kippur, the Kohen Gadol would not sleep. We were worried that if he were to sleep, then he might have a keri, he might have some sort of seminal emission which would render him tomei and would invalidate him from doing the avodah on Yom Kippur. So we make sure he stays awake all night. So says the Mishnah Zayin, interesting Mishnah, Bikesh lehisnamne. If the Kohen Gadol wanted to doze off, then Pirchei Kahuna makin lefonov be'etzbas rodo. Then the Pirchei Kahuna, the young Kohanim, the Bar Tanura says, well, what does it mean, the young Kohanim? Bachurim, the youngsters, shemaschil seyazakenam lifroyach kuruim Pirchei, where the hair of their beard would begin to sprout. That sort of age, they would be called Pirchei Kahuna. And they would snap their fingers, makin lefonov be'etzbas rodo. So Rashi, and the Rambam, the Bar Tanura as well, learns that they would click together their index finger and their thumb. But Tosfos in Menachos, Daf Lamed Hey on the base, takes issue with that and says, based on the Girsa and the Tosefta, but says that it wasn't actually the index finger, but rather it was the middle finger. And the reason being, just by just try it at home and you'll see, that if you try and snap together the thumb with the finger immediately next to it, index finger, it's very hard to make a loud noise. But if you snap the thumb with the middle finger together, then you can make a much louder noise. So either way, and there's a machlokas which finger they used, but they would click their fingers to make a noise and to wake up the Kohen Gadol from dozing off. And they would say to the Kohen Gadol, Ishi Kohen Gadol, Amoid, my master the Kohen Gadol, stand up, v'hofeg achas al haritzpah, and cool off once on the ritzpah, on the floor. And the Bar Tanura explains that the Kohen Gadol wasn't wearing shoes, of course, and the ritzpah was made of shayish, of marble. Says the Bar Tanura, shashayis lahosir chayma, to remove the warmth of his feet. Hofeg means to remove, to turn away. So to take away the warmth of your feet. Says the Bar Tanura, shetzinain haraglayim meisa hashena, and if your feet are cold, then that's going to be very hard to sleep. It's easy for him to stay awake. It will sort of snap him out of his dozing state. Fine. Continues the Mishnah. And they would keep him busy until the time for shchita, which would be daybreak. The Tiferes Yisrael learns that they would sing zmiros and shirim and tishbachos. That would keep him busy. There are other versions which say that the Ziknei Yerushalayim, the Yakirei Yerushalayim, the prominent elders of Yerushalayim, would not sleep also the entire night of Yom Kippur, and their talking and their speaking would help, would sort of make a sort of a noise in the Beis Hamikdash and would help him stay awake as well. And that is the makar, which is brought in Halach and Archaim, Siman Tov Reish Yud Tes, Halach Vav, as a zeicha for that. There are people who would stay awake the whole night of Yom Kippur even nowadays. Interestingly, Rashi on the Mishnah, where this Mishnah appears in the Gemara in Yomא Yud Tes on the base, he says something interesting. He says, V'hofeg, based on the Gemara there at the bottom of the Omid, Rashi on the Mishnah says, V'hofeg, Taya lahofeg sheina me'inecho, Amoid, stand up, V'hofeg achas, stand up once on the ground, S'choik lanu pa'amachas ala ritzbah lahofeg sheinoscho v'gmor mefarish maihi. In other words, the Kohanim, the youngsters, were telling the Kohen Gadol, you stand up and amuse us by some sorts of acrobatic feats, and this sort of activity, which would, that sort of exercise would keep the Kohen Gadol alert and awake and would prevent him from falling asleep the night of Yom Kippur. That is the end of Mishnah Zayin.